We are in the Beverly Swamp, which is one of the most significant wetlands in Ontario. The area is home to many significant species that are increasingly threatened with the way in which we've been degrading the environment. So this area is designated by the Hamilton Conservation Authority as an environmentally significant area, but there are increasingly fewer and fewer of these areas as they have been consumed by other kinds of development.
Enbridge is looking to expand their capacity, and they essentially want to run another pipeline along these lands. Right here where we're standing, expand more of this corridor, take out more of the forest to facilitate that.
I grew up in the prairies, and every single tree was a treasure. We treasured every tree because we had so few of them and they were so little. And when I came to this area, I was just amazed at the plethora of the trees everywhere and wetlands, beautiful wetlands, and it just seems so wrong to wreck another piece of the green space.
These are areas that have been set aside specifically in Hamilton to be protected. The Conservation Authority documents say they will never be bulldozed, but if you're going to put a pipeline through here, they will be bulldozed.
They're going to need to expand the area for the pipeline by probably 22 meters in order to accommodate this big pipeline.
The pipeline itself is 48 inches across, so over 1.33 meters. The excavation that's involved with putting that pipeline in, the creation of that trench, is a significant industrial activity in an area here which is very shallow soiled. So when you build, you're dealing with bedrock. So they're going to have to blast their way through here. And if you're going to blast a trench through the bedrock that lies just below where I'm standing, then what happens to the wetland? Where does the water go? It's going to go into those trenches. You're going to have major disruption to the ecological systems that are in place here. It's a bit absurd because the gas is actually being fracked in Pennsylvania. It's then shipped west and north to Sarnia and hence across southern Ontario in this company's so-called Dawn Parkway system and across to the end of Lake Ontario and down into the United States again to feed New York, Maine, and the eastern seaboard, which is right next to Pennsylvania.
You may wonder why they're doing that. They're doing that because there are regulations that they're not allowed to have fracked gas pipelines in order to get it from Pennsylvania to New York, which is a very short distance.
People in those areas have successfully stopped companies like Enbridge from building new fracked gas pipelines into those areas. So this is a runaround.
Enbridge is the single largest energy infrastructure company in all of North America, and they're posting record dividends. I see this as further consolidating Enbridge's position, securing more of their fossil fuel assets, and just kind of helping them get a tighter hold on the market.
Methane gas is carried in this pipe. It's called natural gas, but it isn't natural in any way. It's explosive. It's a very risky greenhouse gas.
This is a fracked gas pipeline carrying stuff which has been extracted from the ground in a completely destructive way, which not only releases methane but also demolishes the integrity of the water tables, the groundwater.
I'm against this project because I feel that in this age that we're living in, investing in fossil fuel infrastructure is very, very reckless.
We know what is causing the climate crisis. The major cause is fossil fuel infrastructure, the burning of fossil fuels. So expanding that fossil fuel infrastructure is insane. It is going to make things worse.
Canada is already way above what their emissions should be for the Paris Accord. I've read that Enbridge plans on this pipeline being functional for 40 to 60 years. This takes us well beyond the 2030 and certainly the 2050 goal.
This is how these companies secure their future and secure the continued use of these fossil fuels, by building infrastructure projects such as this that shackle our society to these fuel sources.
The lands that we're standing on here are lands that have been the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe peoples and other First Nations. And they were able to maintain these lands without damage, with clean water and clean air for thousands and thousands of years. So we really need to learn from Indigenous people, and we need to stand with them, and they have been at the front lines of all of these efforts to protect the land and to protect the water and to oppose these pipelines.
This infrastructure project is just one of many going on here in Southern Ontario. It is very important that anyone who's watching this does what they can to oppose it, because if there isn't active opposition to this sort of thing, these companies expect that we, the people who are impacted by this, are just willing to roll over and let them do what they want.
Sometimes older people can think, well, we're not going to be around long enough to suffer. But, you know, many of us have children and grandchildren, and I have 2 great-grandchildren, and I'm doing it mostly for them.
Blocking new fossil fuel infrastructure has been one of the most successful means by which we have minimized the impacts on the climate. It's happened in terms of pipelines all across North America. It's happened in terms of the Keystone Pipeline. That fight has been going on since 2011, 2012. At this point, in 2020, it still hasn't happened. The Northern Gateway Pipeline across British Columbia, which was supposed to be a sure thing, it got stopped. The Trans Mountain Pipeline has been fought for many years. Each of these pipeline projects is crucial to expanding the fossil fuel extraction process. And each time we stop one, we stop a whole lot of damage to the environment.